Hello and welcome inside Andy Mohr Field in Bloomington, Indiana for another presentation of WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball. I'm Alex Train, joined by Jeremy Parks for the Big Ten Tournament Semifinals. Bright and early, a 9 a.m. start moved up because of the potential of rather harsh rain in the afternoon, and, well, wouldn't rather be any other place than this fine stadium for a crucial semifinal matchup between the Michigan Wolverines, number 1 seed in this tournament, and the number 5 seeded Wisconsin Badgers. Certainly should be a great one.
Yeah, Drain, and this is, again, a game that Michigan happy to get to after a walk-off win in 8 innings yesterday against Illinois, 1-0, courtesy of a solo Lexi Blair home run that was the difference maker. But Megan Beaubien back in the circle for the Wolverines again this afternoon. She split action, really, in terms of pitches with Alex Storako, who started yesterday's game, and then Beaubien coming on in relief and closing the door long enough to give Michigan the opportunity to scratch across the game's only run. And she will look to go up against, leading off, Wisconsin's Kayla Conwent, the best hitter in all of Big Ten softball.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the lineups as Michigan's getting ready. Wisconsin's going to run out Conwent, Johnson, Cross, Foster, Lombardo, Hedgecock, Welsh, Little, and Miklush, 1 through 9, with Caitlin Menz in the circle. For Michigan defensively, it will be the usual Uden, Rodriguez, Canfield, and Blair, and Subject in the infield, and then Blair, Peters, and Hoganrod in the outfield. Katie Alexander behind the plate, and Megan Beaubien in the circle for the Wolverines. She came in the 5th inning yesterday and had to work out of one tough jam in the 5th and got through another tough jam in the 7th. Sat down the Fighting Illini in order in the top of the 8th, and then it was a leadoff homer in the bottom of the 8th from Blair that ended it in a walk-off because Michigan was the home team in that one. They are the home team again today and will be in the event they make the championship round because they are the number 1 seed, so they get virtue of being the home team. Conwent gets ready to dig in. Beaubien steps on the rubber, and here we go. Kayla Conwent, the Big Ten Player of the Year for the Wisconsin Badgers. Beaubien gets ready to deliver. First pitch is fouled off by Conwent.
Conwent, go ahead.
Enters the game with a 477 average and a 601 on base.
To compare that for Michigan fans to a familiar face and a good hitter as well, Sierra Romero, probably the only person whose stats come close to what Conwent has been able to do this year. Just for reference, in Romero's last 2 seasons, finished at 449 and 451 for average. Conwent, 15 home runs, slightly less than where Sierra Romero was at in those respective seasons.
Beaubien's pitch is a little inside, 1-1. Conwent entered the weekend sitting second in the country in batting average of 483. It's gone down a little bit the first couple of games in this tournament, but she is certainly a superstar, not just in the Big Ten, but around the country. And that one tapped right back to the mound. Beaubien underhand flip to first, and they get that big first out of the game and sit down Conwent. But it doesn't get much easier because Taylor Johnson is next. She was also all Big Ten first team. It's really a stacked Wisconsin order in that it starts quite strong, and then there's a big drop-off after those first 3 hitters.
Yeah, they go kind of reverse of what you would think. Conwent, with numbers and style, is most typically a 4-hitter in any lineup, but Wisconsin puts her in the leadoff spot.
First pitch to Johnson skips in there from Beaubien. Melanie Cross, the number 3 hitter, at 330. Johnson at 369. After that, nobody else above 287. They're very reliant on those top 3 hitters, especially the top 2. Conwent with 15 homers, and Johnson, who stands at the plate now, with 12. Conwent's the starting catcher. That pitch is a strike on the inside part of the plate. Our umpires today, Mike Burwell behind home plate, Liz Hammerschmidt at first, Bill Gamalik at second, and Sally Keller at third. The same old crew that Michigan fans are more than likely familiar with. Count is 1-1. Beaubien puts the ball in the glove and delivers that pitch that's lined right to shortstop Off one hop, Rodriguez scoops, throws across the diamond for 2 quick outs for Beaubien.
And obviously this lineup, a little bit different in terms of how they build it for Wisconsin, but it's worked for them this year, coming in with a 40-11 overall record, 15-8 in Big Ten play. They are only the second team in Wisconsin history to hit 40 wins. The 2013 squad was 44-13 when the season ended.
Melanie Cross stands in, and she takes a pitch a little low from Beaubien. Melanie Cross is a senior from Arizona, one of only 3 players on this Wisconsin roster to not be from Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, or Indiana. A very Midwest-dominated team. 2 players from Arizona, though, and Cross is one of them. That pitch floats high, and it's 2-0 on her. She didn't really become a starter until, actually was a starter early in the year, and then was absent for the lineup for a while. I assume an injury of sorts. Returned as a pinch hitter against Nebraska last weekend, and now getting starts this weekend in the Big Ten Tournament. She backs away from that one as it floats inside, and Beaubien's fallen behind 3-0. Badgers trying to make it into the NCAA tournament for their 3rd consecutive season. Got bounced in the regional each of the last 2 years. 3-0 pitch is just a little low and inside, and Beaubien issues a 4-pitch walk.
Yeah, Drarian, Wisconsin coming into the tournament, ranked RPI 38. You want to be kind of in that top 36, 37 to sort of secure your hopes of making it into a regional somewhere. Obviously will not host, but right on that tournament bubble with a big win against Ohio State yesterday, a dominating 10-1 win over the Buckeyes, who came in at number 37. That RPI likely already on the rise, but a win over Michigan today should all but secure their spot in the NCAA tournament, just for good measure.
We got a pinch runner on the base paths. It's Gabby Shirley coming on for Melanie Cross, standing at first with 2 outs in the top of the first. And it'll bring Lauren Foster to the plate, the number 4 hitter. It is struggling .216 batting average, looking to do some damage, and Beaubien is able to find the zone on that first pitch. A very, very bright day. We are being pelted by the sun in through this glassed-in box. Pitch to Foster, swing and a miss, and now Beaubien ahead of 0-2.
Yeah, the way the field is set up, that morning sun pointing right out to the east, our press box is, looking right to the rising sun.
It's quite warm in here when you're being bathed in the sun. Try to turn on the fan, lower the temperature a little bit. 0-2 pitch floats high, and Alexander jumps up.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the field, the game time temperature just about 51 degrees. Very light wind, 5 miles an hour. It's moving right to left today, out through the outfield. 90% humidity, that belies the rain that will find its way over here this afternoon.
Beaubien gets ready to deliver the 1-2 pitch to Foster. Off speed high, Alexander throw down, and they got her at second. Beautiful throw from Katie Alexander to nab Shirley, and that will end the inning. Gabby Shirley thrown out on the base paths. Beaubien faces just 3 hitters in that inning. A walk, but nobody left. And we go to the bottom of the first. Michigan bats will get a shot to strike first in this game. 0-0 between Michigan and Wisconsin in the Big Ten semifinals. The winner to play Minnesota and Northwestern. The winner of that match, rather.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. An interesting thing that has kind of cropped up for both of these teams that I had a good time reading about on Twitter this morning. I noticed yesterday after Lexi Blair's walk-off home run that there was a stuffed tiger in the Michigan dugout, like a large stuffed animal. Turns out that that's Theo the Tiger, now has his own Twitter account as well.
He was featured quite prominently on the broadcast last weekend against Maryland.
Yeah, and now the Wisconsin Badgers have countered with a stuffed animal of their own, Arwen the Sloth, who is clad in a red Wisconsin jersey in their dugout. So it's the battle of not really mascots, but stuffed animals in the dugouts today.
Well, and we should note that the Michigan Tiger is not just Theo the Tiger, he's Theo the Jungle Tiger.
Jungle Tiger,
They
correct.
make a big distinction between Jungle Tiger and Zoo Tiger.
Yes. Breaking out. All about the natural aggression of animals.
So as we get started here in the bottom of the first, it'll be Canfield, Peters, followed by Blair to face Caitlin Menz, who the Michigan Wolverines have faced before. Menz is a junior pitcher from Waukee, Iowa. She was a freshman the last time Michigan-Wisconsin played. It was a 3-game set in late April of 2017. The first game, Menz threw 11 shutout innings against the Wolverines in a extra inning win. But then on Sunday, she came back and was battered in 4 1/3 innings, giving up 8 runs in that game.
Yesterday against Ohio State, she threw a shortened run rule, 6 full innings, 3-hitter, 1 run for the Buckeyes, so was pretty dominant in the circle again yesterday, trying to build on that here early on today.
So Faith Canfield digs in, and that one is down now, so the Keith Fanfield. 1-0 the count. Canfield is one of the 4 hitters in this Michigan lineup that got a start the last time Michigan saw Menz. It was her, Uden, Katie Alexander, and Subject that have seen her at least once. There's a strike in the inside part of the plate. That series was notable for the ascent of Madison Uden to the Michigan lineup. She had not been a featured player at all that year, and then after the first shutout by Menz on the Friday game, Carol Hutchins inserted Uden, decided to try to switch things up, and there's a hard shot single into left field by Canfield under the glove of the outstretched third baseman Little.
And there you go, Michigan starting off on the right foot after yesterday, getting into a lot of good positions and just unable to scratch across runs. Left the bases loaded. One time left a couple runners on in multiple innings. So they rarely were able to get the leadoff hitter on yesterday. It was typically with 1 or 2 outs. So trying to do something here with the leadoff on.
So in steps Natalie Peters, who had a very good day yesterday, was the only Michigan hitter to consistently reach base. Tries to lay down a bunt there, unsuccessful to do so as it goes foul. The Badger defense left to right in the infield. Little, Foster, Welsh, and Conwent. In the outfield, it's Cross, Miklush, and Hedgecock. Behind the plate is Taylor Johnson, and in the circle, Caitlin Menz. Menz was named to the second team All-Big Ten, which is a pretty good accomplishment given the high quality of pitchers in this conference. Not easy competition, and now a throw back to Canfield at first from Johnson as that pitch to Peters floated high. Not in time, though. Count evens at 1-1. We're going to see a lot of those great pitchers named to the All-Big Ten team today. Menz and Bobian in this one, and then presumably Danielle Williams for Northwestern against Amber Pfizer in the semifinal matchup coming up directly after this one at Andy Mohr Field. 1-1 to Peters, shows bunt again, pulls it back, and it's outside. Mike Burwell calling another tight strike zone today. That was the case when he was behind the plate at Alumni Field against Penn State a couple weeks back.
Yep, had that tight outside the whole time.
Peters digs back in at a 2-1 count. She showed bunt each time, but we'll see if she continues. She's going to run up and slap it, and she hits it to center field. Back goes the center fielder. It's over her head and off the wall. Hutchins waves Canfield around third. She's coming home, and Michigan with a very early 1-0 lead. Natalie Peters stomps at second with an RBI double.
Michigan only had 2 extra base hits yesterday, a double from Katie Alexander and the home run from Lexi Blair, and already 1-2 single double to start off the game. Things boding well, Drain. Well, that's a rib.
Yes, it is, and that's exactly what we talked about, or what I talked about, rather, right before that pitch, which is that the infield and the outfield drawn in as Peters kept showing bunt. She decided not to bunt, and she decided to swing and slap it. And because McLash was pulled so far in, she had to backtrack far ways all the way to the track, and was still over her head. Peters has some raw power as the first pitch floats in off speed for a strike to Lexi Blair, and Peters showed it there.
Show that girl some respect.
Peters played the hero yesterday. or rather Blair played the hero yesterday. Peters was another hero getting on base so many times, but she was never able to be the one that ended it. Blair, who hits behind her, was, with the no-doubt home run to right center. Blair shows bunt, pulls it back, and it's inside 1-1. Blair has that ability to lay down the bunt, and it's more effective for a hitter like her who has raw power, as we saw yesterday. That was her 6th homer of the year, but also the speed to reach. That's how you get a .429 batting average. Good for 3rd in the conference entering this weekend. 1-1 is outside, 2-1.
Men struggling to find the strike zone, has not put herself in good positions on these hitters, the first 2 that she has seen at least. That was something yesterday that we saw Edwards for Illinois do so masterfully, was every time she fell behind, she came back strong. Men's has left a few over the plate here down in the count.
That one is low to Blair. Again, that tight strike zone for Mike Burwell.
It looked like a good pitch from here, maybe a hair outside, maybe a hair low. And got the point with the glove, did Men's from the catcher Johnson, just to put it right back in that good spot there.
Good hitters count for Lexi Blair. We'll see if she can bring another run around. The 3-1 pitch, she gets a piece of it but fouls it off herself, and now the count will run full. Blair, the freshman left fielder, one of 3 Big Ten players to be named to the Freshman of the Year watch list. The other 2 will be playing in the game right after us. 3-2 coming to Blair. She swings and hits it back to the screen. Foul. The other 2 named to that list is Danielle Williams, Northwestern's ace, who pitched a complete game shutout over Indiana yesterday, and Dan Hartog, the Minnesota hitter, who had a home run in yesterday's surprisingly close matchup between the Gophers and Purdue. It was a 4-3 Minnesota win. 3-2 coming. Blair hits it to short. That's going to be a quick play there for the shortstop. Foster retires Blair, but it moves Peters over to third, and now an RBI opportunity for Alex Subject.
Yeah, that Purdue and Minnesota game had some late intrigue. Amber Pfizer had some struggles in the 7th inning against the Boilermakers. Gave up a run, loaded the bases to make it a 1-run game, and Purdue was just unable to scratch across a tying run.
Well, what was interesting about that was Sydney Smith got the start for the Gophers. She ran into some trouble. Purdue nicked it down to 3-2 Minnesota. Gophers got an extra insurance run. First pitch to Subject, down and in. That made it 4-2, and that insurance run was huge because with 2 outs, Purdue mounted a rally off of Pfizer, who had come in relief, and it ended up loading the bases. And then, was it she hit a batter to bring in that run?
Bounced it up off the dirt and into the leg.
Yep. 1-0 coming to Subject. She swings and lines that one into left field, a base hit. Natalie Peters comes home, and Michigan's tacked on 2 in the bottom of the first.
And Subject was looking to do something, had a cold day yesterday, was removed about 3/4 of the way through the game for Taylor. Bump in the field and then a string of pitch hitters.
Now Maddie Uden will get ready to dig in. Anyway, that pitch hit the Purdue hitter, brought in a run 4-3. So the tying run was on third base, go-ahead run at second. But Pfizer was able to get that final hitter out in a stressful 4-3 Minnesota win. Uden steps to the plate, shows bunt, pulls it back. There's a strike delivered by Men's. Subject standing down there at first, 2-0 Michigan in the bottom of the first inning.
Already feels infinitely more comfortable than yesterday, Drain.
Yeah.
2 of the favorites, Michigan and Minnesota, both had their struggles yesterday, pulling out those tight wins.
Uden stands in there. 0-1 coming is a strike, and now the count is 0-2. And even Northwestern's game was not a walk in the park. It never really felt close because you just never got the sense Indiana could hit Danielle Williams, but it was still only a 2-0 game. Indiana brought a tying run to the plate in that 7th inning, just could never get the big hit.
I believe that was a one-hitter for Danielle Williams yesterday.
0-2, and Uden hits that one right back up the middle. This should be 2. There's 4-6-3, right into the glove of Welsh, who tapped second and retired. Uden, solid contact, just poor placement, but Michigan has to be happy with this start. A 2-0 lead headed to the top of the second in the Big Ten semifinals over Wisconsin.
But Michigan strikes first, putting up 2 in the bottom of the first. You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. As always, an invitation to all of our listeners this morning to join us on the YouTube live chat. If you're listening in with us through youtube.com, feel free to send us in your questions, your comments throughout the game. We will be here for this one and a potential championship game if the Wolverines can pull out the morning win here. And we appreciate you tuning in with us as always. We know the games are on BTN. If you want that video look, always can pause your TV if you've got that capability and sync us up with the video coverage.
So Megan Bobian goes back out there to work in the top of the second. Looked pretty solid in the first. Got the first 2 hitters. An issue to walk, but got out of the inning pretty easily. Wisconsin this year 6-6 entering the weekend when the opponent scores first. I believe that number is now 7-6, because Iowa did score first against Wisconsin on Thursday. Wisconsin scored first against Ohio State yesterday. That's one subplot to watch in this game. Wisconsin has now played a 3rd game in 3 days. This is Michigan's only 2nd game.
Just waiting on the TV timeout to conclude here. Part of the perks of free non-commercial student radio, no ads.
Yeah, you get to hear us the whole time.
A couple of ribs for Michigan in the bottom of the first. For the avid listeners, Drain and I did make it 2 Chili's last night. Drain had a full rack.
So Bobian steps on, gets ready to face Foster. First pitch, swing and a miss by Foster. This is technically the 2nd time seeing Foster because it was in the midst of the at-bat that Katie Alexander threw out Shirley on the base paths. It was a 2-strike count when it happened, so Foster gets another try and a fresh start against Bobian to lead off the second. 0-1 pitch, there's the changeup, and a little outside, I guess, 1-1. Wisconsin, the 5 seed in this tournament after going 15-8 in the Big Ten regular season. 1-1 coming, high, 2-1.
Foster, the lowest average hitter in this lineup. The 2nd lowest power hitter in this lineup. Hitting in the 4 spot, so again, kind of that interesting way Wisconsin builds the lineup.
That one fouled away, 2-2. Well, it's not necessarily unusual from what Carol Hutchins did at different points in the non-conference. There was a lot of lineup shuffling, and I remember being quite surprised at all the different players who were being put in that 4 spot early in the year before the lineup really solidified. Count 2-2 on Foster. The windup and the pitch just outside. Alexander, good job of framing it, but Foster lays off, and the count runs full.
Yeah, and again, they found something that worked for them, obviously. This was a Wisconsin team that showed some great early season chops. They went 4-1 against ranked opponents and then just had a little bit of a rougher back end to the Big Ten season.
3-2 is fouled back. They got 2 ranked wins against an NC State team that turned out to be not that great. At the time, NC State had been ranked due to their upset of Arizona in the Tampa tournament that we were at.
And some other close games played. Florida close that weekend.
And Michigan. We'll do the 3-2 again. Here's the pitch, swinging another foul back. Good at-bat from Foster.
Split with number 9 Texas back in one of the early season
that's
tournaments.
Probably their most impressive result.
Yep.
Texas is a very good squad.
Took an Arizona State win right after that as well. Took down a 9 and a 15 in the same day doubleheader.
3-2 swing and a miss. Down goes Foster, and the first out of the inning is recorded. It's a Wisconsin team that spent quite a bit of time early in the year in the top 25 of the polls. They entered this weekend as essentially the number 28 team because they were the 3rd highest in the receiving votes category. They have one Big Ten Tournament title to their name in 2013. And there's a called for strike on Stephanie Lombardo. Lombardo, the 5-hitter, is the designated player, a .263 average. Wisconsin's one title actually was very similar to this one in that it was a semifinal matchup where they were playing the 1-seed Michigan and they got the upset and were able to claim that championship. 0-1 is high.
Yeah, right next to that 2013 team, this is really the best success that the Badgers have had under their head coach, Yvette Healy, in her 9th season.
She's done a good job here. Has been able to get Wisconsin to the tournament in 4 of her first 8 years, looking to make it 5 of 9 this season. 1-1 swing and a miss by Lombardo off speed, way out in front of it. And now the count 1-2. Wisconsin was placed into the Tuscaloosa Regional last year. They got a win against Oregon State in the first game. It was a 9-3, 8-inning game, very unusual. 1-2 to Lombardo, swung on and tapped foul just out of the reach of Uden down the third base side. They then played Alabama and got smacked around 9-1, then got a rematch with Oregon State and that time lost to the Beavers, and that was the end of their season.
Yeah, that Tuscaloosa Regional will be one that very few will want to go to again this year. Alabama, even better than they were last season.
1-2 coming to Lombardo. Just outside 2-2, Beaubien continues to nibble at the edges. We were watching Kentucky against Alabama at the hotel last night. And
Kentucky put up a little bit of a fight, but...
Yep. Alabama able to emerge victorious. They are the 1 seed in the SEC tournament. 2-2 pitch swung on and lined right back up the middle, and that's going to go all the way off the wall. Peters a little slow to get to it. Throw into second. They've got a close play there, but it's going to be a 1-out double for Lombardo. And Wisconsin has their first hit of the morning.
Extra bases trying to get right back in striking range to cut into this 2-run Michigan lead, and that's the first time we've seen any of these Wisconsin hitters make really good, solid contact off of Megan Beaubien.
That'll bring up Hedgecock to the plate. And we got another pinch runner coming into the game. Wisconsin being very aggressive early on. It'll be Lawson, number 20, Sydney Lawson, a junior. She'll stand at second with 1 out. As the 6-hitter Hedgecock, a .287 hitter, gets ready to dig in.
He's running for Wisconsin. Now at second base, number 20, Sydney Lawson. Now batting, the right fielder, number 8, Carolyn Hedgecock.
See if we can get you Lawson's numbers on the base pads. 7 for 8.
First pitch to Hedgecock is a little down and in. Be interesting to see if they test the arm of Alexander. The throw down to third is a pretty easy one to make. And now Jen Brundage comes out to talk to Beaubien. Didn't like something about that delivery.
Yeah, you give up the hard contact and then not loving the first pitch immediately back after that. Perhaps just calming it down, trying to recenter here. Would always love to be a fly on the wall in those meetings. There's a number of Minnesota fans here already this morning. I don't see much Northwestern purple, but that game will be 35 minutes after the completion of this one, and then the tournament championship 35 minutes after the completion of Northwestern and Minnesota. So looking at probably about a 1:30 to 2 o'clock start for that championship game this afternoon if all goes according to plan. And then the rain should be moving in around 5 o'clock this evening.
1-0 coming to Hedgecock. And it just dives a little low. 2-0.
So hopefully Michigan is back on the ride home with a trophy in hand by the time the rain hits here in Bloomington.
Swinging a high fly ball to center. Back goes Peters, but she's got room. Now going to come back in on it. Throw over to third, and it goes off the runner. Now they have a play at the plate. Throw there. She is out.
What a wild play there, Drain. The fly ball to center, the good throw into third, but it bounced up off of the leg of Lawson, went over towards the Indiana dugout. It was gathered up, and a great throw into Alexander at home, and the tag applied in time.
It looked like an interesting play because I'm not honestly sure if Alexander actually touched her. The throw was definitely in time. The tag was there, but it was an interesting sort of half slide.
Yeah, we had about the same view as home plate umpire Mike Burwell, but he was right on top of it. We're a little bit removed, and up with the Army went. If you are watching on the replay with your TV at home, feel free to let us know your thoughts on that call in the live chat. But a great effort just to get the ball to the plate in a timely fashion, and that's just bad luck for Wisconsin.
Well, it was almost great luck for Wisconsin because that was a very good throw from Peters, and it goes off the runner, and almost they get a free run there, but then instead it's a free out for Michigan. Great throw by Megan Mobian, doing exactly what you're supposed to do, backing up the third baseman and then getting quickly to it, an accurate throw right in time. And the tag applied. Michigan now has thrown out 2 runners on the base paths in the first 2 innings, and they take a 2-0 lead to the bottom of the second.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Topsy-turvy there to end the inning, but no harm done is the key to that. Giving up the double and getting the throw out at home. We are just about full here in the lower bowl section of Andy Mohr Field. There's a few folks in the extension bleachers up on the high side of first base and a few over to the left here near the Dippin' Dots tent.
So you get ready to get going. In the bottom of the second, it'll be Mac Nemitz leading off, followed by Alexander and then Haley Hoganrod.
Looks like a tournament flag or something just fell right next to our booth. Looked like it might have been hanging up on the press box and fell over.
Looks like a tarp.
Could also be a camera tarp.
And it just went flying off the roof right outside our window. Nemitz steps in there and she takes the first pitch down and away from Menz. Michigan would love to get some more padding for Bobian because you always know that this is a talented Wisconsin lineup, got some good hitters. You need to tack on runs. Ohio State, one of the better pitching teams in the conference, got lit up yesterday for 10 runs by the Badgers. 1-0 to Nemitz down in the zone as well.
Nemitz trying to crack 300, comes into the game today at 296. Would become, I believe, the 6th player in the lineup to be hitting over 300.
2-0 coming. Nemitz check swing, tapped it foul.
Yep, it would be number 6, Canfield, Peters, Blair, Subject, and Rodriguez all hitting above 300 as well.
Our good buddy Kevin Klein just messaged us saying that it was the right call at the plate. He looked at the replays and said they just barely got her on the tag.
All right.
2-1 to Nemitz. Swing and foul that one back, and now the count goes 2-2. Bounces right over by the bathrooms. A fan at the drinking fountain is a little surprised.
Yeah, 8-5-1-2 put out if Uden made contact with that ball. A fun score in the little box there.
2-2 on Nemitz. Menz gets ready. The delivery bounces in a good foot in front of the plate. Menz is not really a strikeout pitcher, 95 of them in 136 innings. More of a contact type, similar to Lauren Rice of Ohio State, who Michigan saw a couple times in Columbus and who got battered pretty badly by the Badgers yesterday. Still a very solid pitcher. 3-2 on Nemitz. She swings and pops it up, arcing foul. Will there be room? No. And we'll do the do it again. I saw Alexander walking into the batter's box for some reason. She was saying something to Nemitz about that swing, perhaps.
Well, I think yesterday with the 10-1 loss, that should be Ohio State's season in my mind. They were a bubble team, and I think that probably knocks them out. 3-2,
Nemitz swings and lines that one into the gap. She's going to hit the bag at first, heading to second. A tough play there for the center fielder Miklas, and Nemeth slides in with a double. And Michigan another hit, their 4th of the game, and a runner in scoring position to start this 2nd inning.
More extra bases.
And now here comes Katie Alexander. We're going to have the usual pinch runner for Nemeth. It'll be Grace Schelleman. Carol Hutchins talking to Alexander before she digs in for this at-bat. Katie had a good day yesterday, had a double off the wall, which was, until the Blair homer, the hardest hit ball by either team all day.
Looking to join the extra base hit parade. Hutch over in her box at third base, barking some orders down to Schelleman at second.
Now Michigan getting a little aggressive on the base paths, already inserting the pinch runner. They want to scratch around another run early on in this one. And Alexander's continued to be on a hot streak. First pitch high and outside. Katie had a tough non-conference, but has been rejuvenated accordingly in Big Ten play. 1-0 count.
Standing in tall there, an extra step back away from the plate.
And that pitch high and outside, 2-0. Wisconsin keeps looking back at the runner, Schelleman. Alexander with 10 homers this year to lead the team. It's her career high. Her average .359 in conference play entering the weekend. 2-0 swings and lines that one down the line, arcing, and it will go foul over by the Badger bullpen. Wisconsin on the third base side and Michigan the first base for this game.
Yeah, pulled that one. It looked like just off the end of the bat there.
We'll get a 2-1 offering here from Menz. The pitch, she swings and hits that one high into the air, straight away at the left fielder cross, and that'll be one out in the inning. Got under that one.
Yeah, and it's possible that you could lose a ball in the sun here today, but not from that angle. It could be more so hitting balls into right field looking up into the sun.
Yeah.
Something to keep an eye on, as we're expected to be bright and sunny at least until about 2 o'clock today, when the clouds should start rolling in.
Mike Burwell gets handed some new baseballs from Liz Hammerschmidt as Haley Hogenrod gets ready to dig in with one out and the runner on second.
Softballs.
What?
Softballs. You said baseballs.
I say baseball now.
Yeah. Zoo Tiger move.
Yeah.
Kind of strike me as a Zoo Tiger, Green. Just gonna say it.
Hogenrod digs in. She shows bunt and pulls it back, throw over to third, safe!
Ooh,
Yeah, that was probably the...
Well, that was an ugly play all around. Hogenrod, I think, was just trying to give a little cover there to try and make the play difficult for Johnson. The throw, again, was there very much in time, but the question is whether or not the glove got to the leg of Schelleman before it hit the base. And all of the Wisconsin fans sitting on the third base side kind of have a direct view right at that play, whereas Sally Keller over at third was sort of behind the play.
I looked at like a hit and run of sorts.
Yeah.
With the way that was a very awkward bunt attempt from Hogenrod.
That's another tough break on a close call for Wisconsin.
A lot of close plays early on. 0-1 count for Hogenrod. She takes that one down and in, and now with the runner at third. A good fly ball to the outfield could give Michigan a 3-0 lead with the speed of Schelleman at third. That's why you pinch run for a rather slow runner like Nemeth.
See what Kevin has to say on the replay with that one.
1-1 pitch is outside. Well, it's a tough play for Sally Keller because she's standing behind the bag and she tries to move over to get a better angle, but still rather obscured from where that tag was being applied. 2-1 to Haley is outside. Now the count 3-1. Those tight corners from Mike Burwell.
Kevin says bad call. That Schelleman was definitely out at third base on the slow-mo replay. So a break for Michigan and a tough break for Wisconsin.
3-1 to Hogenrod is off speed for a strike, 3-2. Well, we were watching the SEC tournament yesterday, and one of the new things in that tournament is the use of replay review. They're trying to make that a thing across NCAA softball. It's being test run at the SEC tournament. 3-2 to Haley. She swings and clobbers that one well foul.
I got a lot of it, but pulled it down that left side.
Out in front there.
Yeah, and the replay, I believe, is working the same way as the MLB, where you have the one challenge opportunity per game.
(3-2) on Hogenrod. She swings and lines that one into the gap. And it will be a solid single as the right fielder Hedgecock comes over to scoop it up, but Schelleman comes home. Haley gets it done, and Michigan leads 3-0.
Yeah, that one looked like it was heading towards the gap and then had some spin on it that brought it closer over towards Hedgecock in right field. But nonetheless, that's an RBI single for Haley Hogenrod.
Number 21.
Trace Acero.
Yeah, Michigan getting a nice early lead, and they still have room for more with the number 9 hitter, Natalia Rodriguez, stepping up to the plate. Nat Rod at .313 on the year, making her 53rd start of the season. Steps up and takes that one for a strike. She started all the games this year, all 53 for the Wolverines.
Well, and that's got to just further incense Wisconsin as well, as the run that scored was probably out at third. But a missed call benefits the Wolverines with another run.
Coming to Rodriguez. That's a great bunt laid right down the first base line. She's going to beat it out. What a beauty.
Don't draw the bunt up any better than that. They weren't pinched in at the corners at all, just dragged that right down the first base line, soft enough that it took a full sprint for Menz to get over to the line, and Rodriguez with plenty of speed to leg that one out.
And that one, a perfectly straight trajectory. I mean, that did not wobble one bit, did not tail in, did not tail out. That was a straight roller, like a perfect bowling ball, right down the first base line, and able to beat it out with ease was Rodriguez. Menz had no play, and now Michigan 2 runners on as they flip it to the top of the order for Faith Canfield. Canfield, one of the 3 players who have started all 53 games for Michigan. Rodriguez, Blair, and Canfield are the 3. Hogenrod has appeared in all 53, but has started 52. And Peters has appeared in 52 and started 52, but was absent in one of the games. Canfield digs in the right-handed batter's box. She had a single to lead off the game. Now a chance to do some more damage with 2 runners on and only 1 out in the inning. And she takes that one high. It was a solid single roped to left field.
Number 25,
back in the bottom of the first.
Could go for another one of those. Order a double.
Hogenrod at second, Rodriguez at first. 1-0 coming, and that hitter, nope. They're going to call her back saying she leaned into it, but it will go down as a ball, 2-0.
Saw another play similar to that yesterday. I'm trying to remember which game that was in. I believe it was the first game of the morning where there was a call on a lean in.
Oh, we were watching on TV when that happened. That was in the...
Or was that in the evening?
It was in the evening. It was either the Alabama-Kentucky game or it was the Purdue-Minnesota game. I think it was Alabama-Kentucky, but don't really remember. 2-0. There's a strike on the outside corner. Alabama-Kentucky, by the way, had the first overturned replay review in NCAA history. It was a play at the plate. Alabama challenged an out call and was indeed safe. 2-1 is high and outside. Jumping up out of the crouch is Taylor Johnson to monitor Hogenrod. Now a 3-1 count. A good opportunity to swing the stick for Canfield. Nat Peters waiting on deck.
Who still has not recorded an out in this tournament.
3-1, and Faith lines that one just foul down the third baseline. She was ready for that and scalded it, but just about a foot to the left of the third base bag.
Little went for the full extension and just skated by past her and Hutch.
The count will run full now on Canfield. Three-two, and she swings, lines that one to shallow center. It's going to be off the glove, and it'll drop in for, I assume, a single as a diving play by Miklas, just unable to come up with it.
Yeah, it's a tough play. That's no way they score that in error.
That'll be the 6th hit for Michigan, and now, or 7th, and now the sacks are packed for Peters, who doubled her last time up.
But lucky enough for Michigan on that play as well, sometimes that still leads to an out with the runners holding up, waiting for the fly, but it scooted out of the glove over towards right field a little bit, and that gave Hogenrod, who was only a couple steps off of second, enough time to scamper over to third. Luckily, Rodriguez was much closer to the bag at second by the time that ball was dropped.
Well, this bases loaded one-out scenario was a bugaboo for Michigan yesterday. We'll see what they can do here. Peters steps up and takes it for a called strike. Michigan had this very situation in the bottom of the 4th, and they brought in Lou Allen as a pinch hitter. She worked an excellent count, got it to 3-2, fouled off a bunch of pitches, and then hit a screamer to second, and they doubled off the runner at second.
Already has a rib in this game.
0-1 for Peters, swings and taps it off herself, and now Menz is ahead 0-2. Peters, a very good contact hitter, though, with just 7 strikeouts on the year, 17 walks to 7 strikeouts. Her 14 hit by pitches, by the way, is close to the top of the conference lead, if I remember correctly. 0-2 from Menz on the way, and just high. Good take by Peters.
Good pitch and good take. Tough one on the upper outside edge of the zone.
Peters is second in hit by pitch behind Lexi Huffman in the conference. 1-2 coming. That one is also well high, and Peters takes it 2-2.
Yeah, just a little wiggle room there, trying to switch the eye levels and the speeds with the last 2 pitches. And now back to 2-2.
Menz gets ready. Here's the pitch. Peters swings and taps it right to first. Conwent's going to go home, and they called it dead. They're going to say Peters left the batter's box early. Yeah. And so all the runners move back. Doesn't matter anyway, because the ground ball to first, they were making the throw of the plate, so it would have been bases loaded, 2 outs no matter what.
Yep, just a difference in the base runners, and
now comes Lexi Blair with a chance to do damage.
Perhaps a slightly less favorable situation for Michigan, as Hogenrod is a little less speedy on third.
Lexi with a good opportunity here to bust this game open a little bit. Michigan runners will be on with contact. 2 outs in the inning, and there's a ball just outside from Menz.
Had the ground out to short in her first at-bat.
One-0 coming. There's a strike on the inside part of the plate.
Yep, took an extra second there to make the call, did Mike Burwell.
One and one, the count on Blair. The pitch, off speed, and she takes it for a ball. Those tight edges from Burwell.
Yeah. Wisconsin fans getting a little restless as the slights seemingly piling up.
2-1 count. This is a good hitter's count for Blair. The pitch is off speed and down and away, and now a 3-1 count. Menz nowhere to put Lexi.
Going to see something decent here.
At least you expect.
Question a little less about location, a little more about speed, I think, in this situation. See where men's goes.
The 3-1 count. Outside, and Blair will come on to first, and with it, Hoganrod trots home. You know, that's a tough one, but you can't say Burwell hasn't been consistent. That's the way it is today, and that's then the way it is when he normally umpires.
Yeah, and that one's still yet a little further outside than the pitch two prior that also got a couple of groans from the crowd.
And with it now, it's a 4-0 Michigan lead, and Subject now steps to the plate with a chance to do damage. She takes the first pitch for a called strike.
Subject had the RBI single out to left in the first inning. Part of that 2-run output for Michigan in the first frame.
Single could score 2 here for the Wolverines with runners off the base paths with 2 outs. And she swings and just taps it foul. Behind 0-2 now.
Walks are always good.
Subject not a big strikeout producer at 14 compared to 26 walks. 14 strikeouts and 121 at-bats is very, very solid. Look to make contact here. Oh-2, high and outside.
Again, you've got to know as a pitcher at that point, I get it that you may disagree with the location on the outside, but the pitcher has to know that you got to rope it in a little bit closer if you want to avoid that call.
Yeah. 1-2 to Alex. She swings and misses off speed there. Michigan will strand the bases loaded, but they tack on 2 more and lead 4-0 after 2. Headed to the top of the third. Michigan 4, Wisconsin 0 in the Big Ten Semifinals, live from Bloomington, Indiana.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Michigan as a team right now 7 for 12 on the game so far through 2 innings of work.
Been a very
not too bad there, Drain.
No, very impressive offensive performance so far from the Wolverines. They've now already sent 13 hitters to the plate through 2 innings, and they're making men's work big time, giving Beaubien a lot of time in between the innings to stay sharp and warmed up. This is the blueprint Michigan wants. Early lead and let your ace go to work.
Again, that winner of this game will face the winner of Minnesota and Northwestern later on this afternoon, probably around a 1:30 to 2 o'clock start, depending on the run time of this game and the next. But Michigan would be happy to get the win, have a nice lunch break, and take it easy for a couple of hours before going back to work for the title.
Stepped up on this step in our booth. The sun from my angle is right on that little strip of frosted glass at the top of our booth.
Sun should be almost up above the ceiling here soon.
Yeah.
Yep, as we said, the clouds will start to move in towards the time of that championship game, and then close to the conclusion of that game should be the movement of rain into the area.
So it'll be 7-8-9 to face Beaubien, Welsh, Little, and Micklash. None of these 3 hitters particularly potent. You'd like to see Beaubien get a very quick 1-2-3 third inning here and send the bats right back out there. Waiting for the TV timeout to finish. Now get ready to go in the top of the third.
We're a long way from it, but we had a listener question about the run rule in softball. It's 8 after 5.
There's a ground ball right to short. Nice play by Rodriguez. Quick throw across the diamond. 1 pitch, 1 out. Natalia's defense has been on display this weekend, particularly a tremendous play in that stressful 5th inning where Illinois had 2 runners on and 2 outs in that situation, and she saved a run not just by extending out to dive and hold the ball in the infield, but then from her knees, a sidearm flip to Uden, who stood in there even as the base runner came sliding in. to get the force to end that 5th inning. Huge moment as there's a strike to Little. Michigan's defense has been very good all weekend so far, especially here in this game today. Oh, 1 to Little. It's a called strike on the edge. Little, a 225 hitter, second lowest average in the lineup, but a solid 396 on base. Prone to the strikeout, though, 46 of them in 111 at-bats. Beaubien ahead 0-2. That one goes high. Men's yesterday only needed 77 pitches. It's something to monitor when Michigan heads back up there. Beaubien yesterday, right around that 65 pitch mark, is exactly the same about where Storako was. 1-2, swing and a miss on the rise ball, high and out of the zone, and now Beaubien very quickly 2 outs in this third, which will bring up the 9-hitter, McClesh. Allie McClesh from Stevens Point, Wisconsin, a freshman outfielder playing in center today. And that's a strike on the outside edge. It's interesting, Menz has just been unable to find that edge consistently, but Beaubien has been able to get it with ease. Command just a little bit more pinpoint than Menz is so far. 0-1 coming to McClesh, just outside. McClesh fouls it back onto the concourse, and now Beaubien ahead 1-2, a chance to get her first 1-2-3 inning of this morning.
Wisconsin as a team right now just 1 for 7, the 1 double coming off of the bat early.
McClesh, 17th strikeouts on the year, 1-2 chopped fouls. She is a slap hitter, 19 walks to 17 strikeouts, the only player in the Wisconsin starting lineup with no homers. Michigan has no players in the starting lineup with no homers, as Rodriguez and Peters have both scratched home runs this year. One-two coming, and that one tapped just foul. McClesh barely making contact there. Looks like a family member of McClesh is sitting just to our left. About 5 rows back, somebody in a red sweatshirt with McClesh written on the back.
Swagged out.
Wisconsin pretty much kept to just the third base side. Michigan owns the entire first base side and right behind home plate. 1-2 to McClesh again. Swing and a miss, or rather a foul tip into the glove, says Mike Burwell, but it goes down all the same. Beaubien collects 2 Ks in the inning, a very fast 1-2-3 frame for Megan.
3 strikeouts now on the game for Beaubien and a 4-run lead for Michigan as we head to the bottom of the third on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
Did you notice that there's a Jen Brundage lookalike right in front of us in the first row? That lady
did not.
Right there.
Let's take a peek here. Yeah, I guess you're right.
With the sunglasses and the blonde ponytail.
Yeah, fairly close.
Wearing an IU shirt, Bloomington, Indiana, the site of this contest, is the Hoosiers, the very gracious hosts. They won't be playing anymore in this tournament, eliminated last night in a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Northwestern, but this is a beautiful facility, quite small. The Big Ten commentators last night said it was very quaint, which I think is an accurate word. Quite small down the lines and not huge in the seating, but very, very nice. High quality.
Intimate.
Yes.
They've got the private box down the third base side here that has these same large, nice, full glass windows that we've got here in the press box. Kind of floor-to-ceiling windows. I was curious when we first came yesterday whether or not that box belonged to the same man that the box at the football stadium belonged to next to us, and that's the John Cougar Mellencamp box. when we come for football at Indiana, they put us on the roof of their press box, and there's a small kind of cabin on the roof of the press box as well that is specifically for use by Mr. Cougar, and it's the only place in the stadium where they're allowed to have beer because he does what he wants.
Looks like the Sklar brothers are still here. They're standing there in the first row.
The alumni comedians.
By the way, there is a pitching change as we get started here in the bottom of the third. It's Haley Hestekin, sophomore in-stater, gets ready to take over. Her number is very similar to Caitlin Menz, and as we noted, the pitch count starting to get a little high for Caitlin Menz. So Hestekin comes in wearing number 14.
Third baseman, number 7.
Hestekin, 2.46 ERA, a 1.23 whip. Numbers suggest a little bit weaker of a pitcher than Menz, but have to see how it goes. Uden digs in. She shows bunt, takes it outside. We'll see if the command is better for Hestekin than it was for Menz. She is slightly more of a strikeout pitcher, but still not all that much. 113 strikeouts in 136 and 2/3 innings pitched for Hestekin. 1-0 on Maddie, and she takes it high, 2-0.
Pitched in the first game of the tournament against Iowa, which was a 7-4 win for Wisconsin. Went 3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 3 runs. 3 walks and 3 strikeouts. So not a great performance so far in the tournament.
2-0 coming to Uden. Check swing takes it for a strike.
But the job now is to just try and keep it close and within striking distance to try and scratch a few runs off of Beaubien. As it stands 4-0 in favor of the Maize and Blue.
Michigan looking to put some more numbers on the board. 2-1 swing and a foul tip into the glove. Now the count goes to 2-2.
Apparently in the middle of Alexi Blair at bat, the BTN just cut to commercial. Stuart Burlow said it best. That's why you always tune in with WCBN Sports commercial free.
2-2, and Uden hits that one high in the air to right field. Back to the track, to the wall. See ya! Goodbye. A home run for Madison Uden. That one cleared the fence by a long shot, dropping in just in front of that pickup truck that is parked in the grass in right field.
Goner than gone.
Yeah. And Michigan now 5-0 lead. That is Uden's 7th homer of the year. She had 3 last season. The power for Maddie coming to fruition this season. I don't know what the story with that truck is. I don't know why it's parked in the grass, like in the bushes.
Don't matter.
But she put it probably, what did you say, 30, 40 feet behind that fence?
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty good measure. I'd say probably landed about 235.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. It's 190 to the corners, and she put it solidly to right field.
Yep, that ball was gone to all parts of the ballpark.
That's Michigan's 2nd homer of the weekend. Nemitz takes the first pitch for a ball outside. We talked about during the week on our podcast, East of the Rockies, how a lot of these Michigan hitters, their home run totals have gone up compared to last year. Canfield's is higher than last season. Alexander's is higher. Subjects is higher. Uden's is higher. Blair has come in and chipped in 6 homers as a freshman. As there's a strike to Nemitz. Nemitz has come off the bench to throw in 5 homers.
Yep.
Hoganrod about the same at 3 homers, and even Natalia Rodriguez with a homer this year, when it may well have been one of the biggest homers, if not the biggest of the season, to propel Michigan to a top 5 win over the Huskies of Washington in the non-conference. As there's the ball inside to Nemitz. No doubt the most surprising homer of the year.
Yes.
And it was not a little screamer down the line. That thing was a solid shot.
Hey, even Bartolo Colon got one out of the park one day. You just got to find that inner strength.
2-1 to Nemitz. She swings and misses on that delivery from Hestekin. And it's 2-2. Michigan a comfortable 5-0 lead as we play in the bottom of the third at this Big Ten Tournament Semifinal matchup. Two on its way. Nemitz fouls it down the line off the screen.
Hestekin has kind of that interesting form where she takes her left glove hand and points it straight down as she begins her motion. Puts a little house over that ball. Still in search of her first out in relief.
2-2 on its way to Nemitz. The pitch, and McKenzie pops it up straight back. That will go out of the catcher's reach. Wow, did that bounce off the stairs?
That bounced off of the railing for the stairs. Had some perfect geometry there to get the nice bounce off of the metal and up into the crowd.
Yeah, it was a AstroTurf, the old carpet, huge moon bounce. So the count stays 2-2 to Nemitz, who strung together a very nice at-bat. She leans on that off-speed pitch and pokes it foul.
Just fighting them off.
Protecting the plate well is McKenzie. She doubled her first time up. And then Schelleman was inserted as a pinch runner who came around to score Michigan's third run of the game.
Turning it into an extended at-bat, trying to wear Hestekin down.
2-2 on its way. Nemitz hits that one right to the shortstop. One hop, throw across, out at first base.
Got her by about half a step. It was fumbled on the transfer by Foster, but able to recover in time. And Nemitz, one of the slower runners in this lineup, able to get the out over at first by, again, about half-quarter step.
Continues our pattern of a ton of bang-bang plays this weekend in Michigan's games. A lot. Yesterday against Illinois, there were 2 at-bats consecutively where there were bang-bang plays at first. There was the throwback, a controversial throwback on the first double play of Peters at first. And now today already a tight call, stolen base at third, a tight call at the plate. Alexander takes the first pitch outside. She popped up to left field her first time up.
Got to give props to the Alexander family, as always, for teaching good music. I live for the walk-up song. Like, I just want Katie to come up every at-bat.
1-0 delivery on its way to Alexander. She takes that for a called strike. Hestekin continuing to try to hunt for the outside corner.
Trainer, are you a current top 40 kind of guy?
What?
Are you like a top 40 hits kind of guy?
I do sometimes.
That's a Zoo Tiger move.
1-1 to Alexander. Outside 2-1.
Wind is blowing fairly gently from right to left out through the outfield here.
Looks like it's picked up a tad.
It was about 5 miles an hour when we started, maybe inching closer to 10 now.
2-1 to Alexander is a strike on the outside edge. 2-2. Michigan, no stranger to windy games. They had a very, very gusty one against Michigan State at Alumni Field. It was a Tuesday night game. Katie fouls it back to the screen. Really good at-bats from Michigan here in this bottom of the third.
Yeah, giving Hestekin fits. Just can't find that put-away pitch on these hitters. It's all been contact.
Two and two the count on Alexander. The lined up in the pitch, and another foul back to the screen. It appears the Minnesota Gophers are watching in the peanut gallery down the first base side. I'm not sure why they're over there, because that's the first base dugout area, and they would be the away team against Northwestern as the lower seed.
The warm-up facility.
Be on the third base side.
Yeah, warm-up facilities on that side. Perhaps taking some BP in there.
2-2 down and in. And Alexander in the count has run full.
A really well-worked at bat again so far here for Alexander.
The 3-2 on its way, just a little high and outside, and Alexander will trot down to first with a walk.
7-pitch walk, I believe.
Michigan, another base runner on, already scratched across 5 in this game. It's a pretty good offensive team in Michigan. Came into the weekend averaging 8 runs per game in conference play. Only one yesterday, but more of their typical self so far today against the Badgers. A chance to do more damage here in the bottom of the third. They've posted at least a run in each of the first 3 innings. Hoganrod swings and high pop-up in shallow left field. Foster backing up, and she makes the easy play. 2 outs.
And finally an easy at-bat for Hestekin.
And now here's Natalia Rodriguez, who had a beautiful bunt single her first time up. The runner on first and 2 outs might be swinging the stick here.
Another listener comment again. Apparently Indiana's allowing alcohol sales in the football stadium this year, so my John Cougar Mellencamp story, no longer the only place where it's allowed.
Rodriguez stands in there and takes a strike. Well, we were at the USF tournament back in February, and they sold
all their rights to Yuengling.
Yeah, they sold a lot of beer at that stadium.
They had that perfect setup, the Yuengling tent and the Dippin' Dots tent right next to each other.
0-1 coming, and there's a strike now. 0-2. What was the name of that stadium? I'm trying to remember.
Well, it's just the USF softball stadium, but it's
the Donaldson Deck is where we
Donaldson
were at.
Deck, the Gonzer-Mart Family Plaza.
0-2 the count on Natalia Rodriguez. And the pitch, she swings, pops that one up just into foul ground. Moving over and making the play is Little. Michigan gets another in the third, though. Leave one stranded. A Uden solo homer pushes it to 5-0 Michigan through 3 innings from Bloomington.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. And thinking about those early season non-conference tournaments, we actually had an offer from a listener in person yesterday after the game who wants to fund the early season trips next year to some of those tournaments.
And that goes with mentioning that if you are satisfied with our coverage and want to contribute, we are always available for donations. Don't give us money personally, but call our station phone or go on the website.
Same gentleman who did try and give Morris and I cash out of his wallet in Raleigh-Durham back in February.
We had great listenership in the game yesterday. Good listenership so far today.
Yeah, 5 years of Michigan softball coverage and going strong. Couldn't do it without your listenership. So again, we always give a shout out to those of you who choose to tune in with us, even though once we get down to these latter parts of the season, you can find the games a little bit more readily. Instead, you get to listen to Zoo Tiger Drain and Jungle Tiger JP.
Katie Alexander's got the pads on, and she is now standing behind home plate, as Bobian had done some warm-up pitches to a different catcher, with Alexander having been stranded on base in that last half inning. And it'll be the top of the Wisconsin order. If Wisconsin wants to mount a comeback, they're going to need some help from the big hitters, and it starts here in the top of the fourth with Conwent, Johnson, and Cross, who were 0 for 2 with a walk combined their first time up.
Had a listener question if Michigan wins, what time the next game will be. So it will be 35 minutes after the conclusion of this game for Minnesota and Northwestern, and then the title game will commence 35 minutes after the conclusion of that game. So we're still kind of looking at a 1:30, 2 o'clock window for the start to a title game.
Leading off for the Badgers, first baseman number 15, Conway.
As always, if you have any questions like that throughout the rest of the game, feel free to shoot them over in the YouTube live chat with us. I'll monitor that as I have been throughout the game.
Conwent stands in there, takes the first pitch, off speed, down and away.
If you've got family members, you can let them know where to find us. Somebody was trying to find us on their iHeartRadio app this morning. We are non-commercial, so you can't find us there.
The 1-0 coming, and just a tad inside on Kayla Conwent, the Big Ten Employer of the Year, who had a soft tapper right back to the circle her first time up. the most dangerous bat in this Wisconsin lineup. Two-0 coming. That one a hit on a line right to center. Diving play by Natalie Peters to rob it out of midair, and Michigan gets the first out of the inning as Conwent blasted that one, and a line drive straight to center field.
The full body extension.
Michigan's defense continues to show off this weekend.
The catcher, number 21.
That'll bring up Taylor Johnson, who grounded out to short her first time up. First pitch outside, 1-0.
Gems all over. Looking like a jewelry store.
One-0 on its way. Strike on the outside edge, and these are true web gems, not just picking up and fielding a bunt.
That was a tweet yesterday from, which account was that?
It was either Indiana or Purdue. I don't remember who it was.
Or no, it was from Michigan's game after I went back and,
Oh, was it Illinois
and
then?
looked at that. Yeah, it was Illinois who had called it a web gem on a bunt that just rolled down the third base side and was a throw out at first.
It's a ball high, 2-1.
Da-na-na, na-na-na. I'll start doing that for regular kind of ground outs here.
2-1 the count on the ever dangerous Taylor Johnson. Entered today with a .369 batting average. 2-1, that one's hit on a line deep to left field, backtrack wall, and Wisconsin is on the board. Taylor Johnson gets her 13th home run of the season, and the Badgers get one back here in the top of the fourth.
Softball gods probably heard me mocking the Illinois Twitter. But no, that was a really good piece of hitting. Bobian finally left one of those right over the plate, and that was a perfect ball to hit. And Johnson got all of it. Cuts the lead down to 4 now, 5-1.
That'll bring up Melanie Cross, who walked her first time up. That one very solidly hit right over the fence. Wisconsin has two very good power hitters at the top of their lineup, and it makes the Peters diving play all the more important, limiting it to a solo homer versus a two-run shot.
Looks like we might have a pinch hitting situation here.
No, that's Cross is number 12.
Well, did they have to reinsert? I guess they did.
Yes, because Shirley was the base runner.
Pinch run for last time. That's correct. Okay.
At second.
22 and 12 were the numbers for those two, so I thought maybe there was a typo.
First pitch to Cross is a little high. Bobian's command not quite as sharp here in this fourth. In terms of league leads in home runs, Taylor Johnson now with 13 will bump her up to number 7 in the conference. 1-0 inside 2-0. Conwent stands at third with 15. Those are the two big power hitters for the Badgers, who as a team are a very solid home run hitting team. 2-0 called strike on Cross. As a team, Wisconsin third in the conference entering the weekend with 60 homers. They get one today, bump them up to 61. Not sure how many they had the first two games, but right near the top of the conference in the power category. 2-1 swing and a miss, and now Bobian ahead, or evens it at 2-2. She gets ready to deliver the pitch. That one fouled back.
Maybe trying to string a couple hits together here and build off that solo home run momentum. Wisconsin took a couple bad breaks early on some close calls, and Michigan pulled out a few runs from those. And the main difference right now are those two-run frames in the first and second.
2-2 on its way is down and outside. payoff pitch coming. Ball in the glove, the windup in the 3-2, swing and a high pop-up just under the edge of the outfield grass as Canfield to make an easy play and 2 outs.
Drew out the at-bat a little bit there, but forcing the nice pop-up for the easy out in the end. Looks like Northwestern has made their way here now as there's some players mulling about the lobby in front of us here.
And one just walked right by our window. 2 outs in the inning will bring up Foster. First pitch to Lauren Foster is outside. She had her first plate appearance ended by a caught stealing, so she came back up in the second and struck out swinging. (1-0) called strike on the outside edge. One and one the count on Foster. And now time is called. Home plate umpire Mike Burwell jumped up. I think his mask had come off, readjusts it, and puts it on.
We saw that in one of the later games yesterday as well, where timeout had been called in the box but was not honored by the home plate umpire, and a strike 3 came across the plate.
1-1 coming from Beaubien. Swung on and fouled back. Yeah, well, what had happened was the Northwestern player had called time, and the time had been granted, but she wanted to just drag the timeout on forever. And the home plate umpire said, let's get going. And she refused and just stood there out of the batter's box as the pitch went right down the middle for strike 3.
Always got to pay attention.
1-2 on its way. That one floats high.
Haven't seen too many get away from Beaubien like that today. That is a pitch that sometimes does fly up in the zone for her on that rising action.
3 homers for Foster on the year. Not a huge power hitter. A 2-2 count. Only a .392 slugging percentage. That one check swing high. They appealed down to first. Did not go, says Liz Hammerschmidt. And the count runs full on Lauren Foster.
Love to see that Beaubien change right here.
She sets the windup and the 3-2. Swing and a high pop-up arcing foul out of play. Goes over by the warm-up area where Northwestern has joined Minnesota. They're a little bit closer to the dugout. Not speaking to the Gophers. 3-2, swinging a high pop-up. There should be room for the first baseman. Subject gets under it, and she makes the play. And so Beaubien surrenders a solo homer to Taylor Johnson, the second Badger hit of the day. But nothing more than that. She's through 4 with just 1 run allowed. Michigan has put up 5 so far, and it's 5-1 Wolverines here in this Big Ten semifinal matchup from Bloomington, Indiana in the Big Ten softball tournament.
You listen to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Cruising along here to the bottom of the 4th, Michigan has yet to put up a frame with a goose egg on it today. 2 runs in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third. The first run for Wisconsin coming in the last half inning, and it's now 5-1 Michigan. As always, we appreciate the listener comments as well, throwing support. Had a chime in from Texas. Feel free to comment where you're listening from. Always cool to see the Michigan connections.
Stecken will go back out there for the bottom of the 4th. Beaubien in a long chat with Brundage outside the dugout over there.
Yeah, just saw something in that motion.
Michigan looking to get to the Big Ten title game in the tournament for the first time since 2016 after 2 early exits each of the last preceding 2 years.
You've got a ways to go, Drain, until you get to pull your alumni membership card out of your pocket, but I can now mix and mingle amongst the fans as a double alumni. There's just a ridiculously large amount of alumni. Like if Alumni Field actually housed all of the alumni, there's a thought. It's like larger than the state of Rhode Island.
I can believe that. So Faith Canfield will lead off this bottom of the fourth. It'll be 1, 2, 3. Faith with a pair of singles. Her average now up to a sizzling 415.
Retirement's not so bad.
She had a single to left and then one that dropped into center. She swings on the first pitch and fouls that one back.
That's perked the average up to 415 for Canfield with that pair of hits so far today.
Mike Burwell picks up that ball and walks it all the way out to Histekin. Is going to say something to her.
That might be a circle infraction warning.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, is that he might have seen that extension go beyond.
Canfield, the senior leader from Garden Grove, California, has gotten her average up to the elite in the Big Ten. Oh, 1 on its way. Faith shows bunt and pulls it back as the pitch floats well high and out of the zone. 1-1 the count. Pitch high, 2-1. There's some fans out in the left field standing beyond the fence watching the game through the railing. And then a few fans that are actually seated out there inside the stadium before the outer fence. 2-1 Canfield swings and fouls it back. 2-2 the count. Two on its way to Faith. She swings, lines that one down the line, foul, just out in front of it. Good, strong contact.
I think I can see in that motion for Hestekin maybe where that conversation was coming from Mike Burwell. Both feet may have left the ground on a pitch at some point, or at least came very close to.
2-2 on its way. Canfield hits that one to left field. On the run is the center fielder. It drops off her glove, and Canfield will go in there to second base. McClesh laying out, but unable to come up with the play, and that'll be another hit for Michigan, and Natalie Peters will come to the plate. It's hit number 9 for the Wolverines.
Yeah, it was almost a great play made out in center, but just diving past and almost snow coning it in the glove, but it bounces away and towards the wall, and an extra base hit for Faith Canfield, who is now 3 for 3 on the game. And another scoring opportunity for Michigan here with none out and a runner on second in the fourth.
Peters doubled her first time up and got called out for leaving the batter's box early. She lowers that bunt down, throw to first, save! Taylor Johnson a little slow getting to it, doesn't love the call there. But Peters able to beat it down the line. Got caught trying to say lays it down and lowers it down.
Well, there you go. Runners at the corners now, and
nobody out, and Lexi steps up. She's got a...
Peters looks to reset her hitting streak. Her last at bat prior to that was the first time she had been recorded out in the tournament.
Runners on the corners. No outs in the inning. Blair to the plate looking for her first hit. And she takes that inside. Blair with a ground out to short and an RBI bases loaded walk in her 2 plate appearances.
Was the walk-off home run hero in the 8th inning yesterday against Illinois to get Michigan to this game.
1-0 on its way, outside 2-0. Blair, one of the few Wolverines without a hit in this game as Michigan has tacked on 10. It's just her and Katie Alexander without one at this point. Good 2-0 count. And she swings, hits that one. That's going to get down in the gap, and it's going to bounce off the wall. 1 run scores there, waving Peters around. She will score, and it'll be a 2-run double for Lexi.
Right up off of the Ohio State logo in left center, a little poetic justice. The Buckeyes are done, and Lexi Blair's still raking.
Yeah, she got a 2-0 count, knew it was going to be coming over the plate, and she was all over it. Pulverized it into that left center gap, bounce off the OSU logo, and she scampers into second. Carol Hutchins very aggressive and waving both Canfield and Peters around.
That pesky Ohio State loss, the only thing that separated Michigan from now it would have been with yesterday, what, a 30-game win streak?
Yep.
29-1 in the last 30.
And it would have been a perfect 23-0 conference record, too. 1 out away from that perfect season, but alas, it didn't cost Michigan much of anything. Still won the Big Ten crown outright at 22-1.
Would have been great to put that beat down on them today, but good enough to watch Wisconsin do it yesterday.
Wisconsin eliminated the Buckeyes 10-1 yesterday, and this game on the same trajectory but the opposite direction today. Michigan with the runner on second, still nobody out in the inning. Already 7-1, and we have another pitching change. Coming into the game is going to be number 5, Maddie Schwartz.
Yep.
She happens to have the lowest ERA on the team, but is only a relief pitcher, which is very unusual in college softball. She has, I believe, just 3 starts this year.
Yep, 3 starts, 22 appearances, so a lot of relief action. Has thrown 51 innings. Has a 1.65 ERA and has a pretty good walk to strikeout ratio of 3-1, or 1-3, I should say.
The whip a tad over 1, though, so it suggests that she may have been getting a bit of luck to keep the ERA that low. But she's coming in just to try and give Wisconsin a shot, because if Michigan puts on 2 more, the Badgers are down to their final 3 outs in the top of the 5th.
Yep. Again, we did have that question earlier in the broadcast. For those of you not familiar, it is an 8-run lead after 5 innings results in the run rule. At any point, you do play out the full inning, at least to the point where the team that has a chance to come back has 3 outs.
Subject stands at the plate and will be the first to face Maddie Schwartz. Schwartz, a freshman from Canasson, Minnesota, which, if I remember correctly, was Prince's hometown.
Now I'm going to have Purple Rain stuck in my head. Thanks for that. Time called.
Canasson just outside the Twin Cities.
15, Alex Subject.
On the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Subject digs in, gets ready for the first delivery from Maddie Schwartz, and she takes it high. Schwartz wears number 5 for the Badgers. Subject in the right-handed batter's box has a RBI single and a strikeout swinging today. Uden waiting on deck. Blair down there at second. High and outside. Blair inching off of second, making Taylor Johnson monitor her down there.
Yep.
Michigan very egalitarian with the scoring today, scattering it well across the 4 innings. 2-2, 1-2 so far. But this inning still going and looking for more. 2-0 to Alex, and she was looking for the fastball and got the change.
Yep.
And a swing and a miss.
Plus 1 point for the vocab for you, too. Egalitarian. It's not bad.
Check off the SAT words today. Two and 1. That one's down and in on Subject. Now 3-1. Schwartz struggling with the command here in this first at-bat. Pitch is not terribly close to the zone.
Wasn't able to see with our vantage point if she had been warming up in the area down the third base side or if she came in cold. I would assume she had some warm-up.
There's a strike from Schwartz, 3-2.
As Michigan has been kind of continually pouring on some runs, so I would imagine that Wisconsin probably had some motion going in the bullpen.
Three-two and Subject way out in front. She went back to the change again, and that's the second strikeout swinging for Subject today. 1 out in the inning.
Jammed her up inside. That's a pitch that's hard to take. It would have been a 50-50 call to me on the inside part of the plate for ball 4, strike 3, but tried to take the cut at it and flailing, missing. That'll bring up Maddie Uden, who had a home run in her last at-bat.
See if she can do damage again. First pitch there, she's swinging, man. These last 2 hitters now really looking for that fastball, and Schwartz keeps going back to the change, and they're just swinging right over it. Way early on these deliveries. Uden peers in at the righty. Schwartz, she swings and lines that one, foul down the left field line.
Got a good piece of it, but just couldn't straighten it out down the chalk.
Junior from Glendale, Arizona, 1 for 2 today with a double play ball in the first and a home run in the third.
The clouds have finally moved in here above the field, kind of obscuring the sun. Not nearly as bright as it was at the start of the game.
0-2 on Uden, she gets a piece. Michigan batters ready to swing on the Schwartz deliveries. Oh, 2 the count. Schwartz winds up and delivers. Uden hits that one right to first. Conwent fields it easily, taps the bag for the second out of the inning, but Blair goes down to third as Nemitz will step up.
Nemitz had a double in her first at-bat out to the left field gap and then grounded out to short back in the third. Put on the wheels for that double, though.
Yep. "11 hits for Michigan, 7 runs on 11 hits, 1 run on 2 hits for the Badgers as we play in the bottom of the 4th. First pitch, and Nemitz out in front of it and yanks it over down that first base side close to where the Northwestern players are hanging out.
Bonnie Thole ducking out of the way there as well. She made the top 25, Bonnie Thole did, in an article that came out the other day on MLive trying to rank the top 25 Michigan softball players of all time. Clocked in at 25 in that article.
0-1, Nemitz takes for a ball. Some familiar recent names on that list included Betha, Lawrence, Romero, and Christner, as well as Haley Wagner and Mackenzie Nemitz's older sister, Nikki, and the legendary Jordan Taylor. 1-1, Nemitz hits it high and foul.
A great history to be able to rank a full top 25 and have to struggle to do so, and had some honorable mentions as well that were in that article. A long and storied history. Worth the read. Had a lot of really good statistical background research to it.
1-2 is down 2-2.
It was, I believe, retweeted by the official team account if you want to go find that from, I believe, yesterday or the day before.
It's Thursday. Have to wonder, there could be a couple players from this team on that list in a few years. Have to think with the freshman season Lexi Blair has had, that's a possibility in addition to Megan Bobian as the 2-2 falls outside the zone 3 and 2.
No doubt.
If you hit 427 as a freshman, that generally sets you on a good path to have a legendary legacy. Be by far the highest average for a Michigan freshman in years. There's a hard shot ground ball right to third. Throw across the diamond. Is in time there by Little, and that will end the inning. But Michigan tacks on 2 more, and they lead by their largest margin in the game, 7-1, after 4 innings over Wisconsin in the Big Ten Softball Tournament Semifinals from Bloomington, Indiana.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Got some good vibrations playing here on the between innings. We've got our natural microphone hanging out of a small window that is far above our heads to the left here. The glass in front of us does not open, so we had to kind of jerry-rig it up to the top there.
Yeah. We have a pitching change for the Wolverines. Alex Duraco has come in. Michigan trying to once again scatter the pitches between their two feature starters to keep the arms ready to go for a potential championship game against an elite opponent. And close the book on Beaubien. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 13 batters faced, and a tidy 57 pitches. Very solid from her.
And should presumably be still fresh to go in a possible championship game later this afternoon. And we just got our tournament all-team ballots to vote for here. We'll have to fill those out.
12 players. Can be from any of the 12 participating schools in this year's tournament. The perks of being media.
Get to have a vote. Just put the whole Michigan lineup. If you have any particular votes, if you've been paying keen attention to the tournament, feel free to throw in anybody that's impressed you from other teams in that YouTube live chat.
Ballots will be collected at the end of the 6th inning of the championship game.
Yep. We've had a good chance to catch a lot of the action, both here at the stadium and back at the hotel.
So it'll be Lawson, Hedgecock, and Welsh, 5, 6, 7 here in the 5th. This should be an easier stretch for Storako to ease in. She'll be asked to get the final 9 outs for the Wolverines and send Michigan to the title game. First pitch is a swing and a miss by Lawson. Lawson is a pinch hitter for Lombardo at the designated player position. 0-1 coming to Lombardo, just a tad outside. Stracco got the start yesterday against the Fighting Illini. Went 4 1/3, 3 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Was pretty darn sharp in that one. Needed 65 pitches. 1-1 coming off speed right down the middle. And it's 1-2. Michigan 7-1 lead as we play in the top of the 5th. 1-2 offering, and way out in front was Lawson. Lawson this year, only 3 at-bats. More of a pinch running type with the 12 runs scored. She's 0 for 3 in those at-bats, 1 for 4 in plate appearances because of the walk. That one way foul.
It's not actually Lawson at the plate. They just didn't update that on the...
Oh, they didn't update it.
Yeah, that is. It's back to Lombardo.
It's back to Lombardo.
Yeah. Didn't update that on the stat broadcast here in the stadium, but yep. Was going to say that is pretty odd.
1-2, swinging a ground ball to Canfield, and she can't make the play. It'll be an error, I would presume, as both Subject and Canfield unable to come up with that play.
Yeah, that one seemed like a ball where Subject probably could have backed off and just headed over to the bag at first, and the grab would have been made by Canfield for the easy toss, but trying to backhand stab it, kind of knocked it out of the way, and then it snuck past Canfield as well, so should probably be an E3.
They're going to give her a kind single.
Oh, did they? Yeah, I'd probably vote E3 on that, but a single, I guess, so that keeps the error off the board for Michigan.
That'll bring up Hedgecock with the runner on and nobody out in the top of the 5th. Wisconsin looking to string something together and try to make some noise. Caroline Hedgecock steps in. Popped up to first her first time up, and that one a tad high from Storako. One-0, swing and a miss.
We got the official Chili's order of Haley Hoganrod sent to us through Twitter. Chips and salsa, medium rare steak, mashed potatoes, broccoli, and the skillet cookie. I had to send back the reply that medium rare is the only way to eat beef.
1-1 is high. 2-1.
You go anything beyond medium rare, Drain, you're just killing the meat twice. Feel free to disagree. Embrace that debate if you so choose.
2-1 on Hedgecock. Off speed, floats in there for a strike.
Yep.
The great spin of Storako on the secondary pitches.
Definitely much more of a natural spin pitcher than Megan Beaubien, who's been trying to work it into her game more, but you definitely see a lot of that skill coming out of Storako's arm.
The pitch is fouled back, 2-2.
The Skillet Cookie is also a terrible choice over the Molten Brownie Mountain thing that I make us order every single time we go.
2-2 count on Hedgecock.
Drain's ignoring the Chili's commentary.
And that one is lined right back up the middle. A solid single for the Badgers, and now they've got 2 on and no out here in this 5th, and they're going to need the bottom of the order to deliver. And very quickly out comes Carol Hutchins. That's an issue for Storako this season, as she gets in a lot of 2-strike counts and then has a tendency to leave some pitches in undesirable locations.
Yeah, it's really the first time that we've seen that good solid contact since the double from Lombardo. We'll see what Hutch has to say to Storako. Again, not that it's anywhere near this point, but if things do become uncomfortable in the circle, Megan Beaubien had a very low pitch count before exiting the game and would pretty clearly be available to be reinserted in the game.
Conversation is done with Hutchins and a team meeting in the circle. Mike Burwell goes out to break it up. Runners on first and second, no out. Welsh to the plate, grounded out to short her last time up.
Could have done what Illinois did yesterday, where they had the circle meeting and then it was broken up and then the coach left and then the players continued to meet in the circle, ignoring the directive to depart.
Welsh, a 234 hitter, watches the first pitch float down and in. These next two hitters, 234 and 223. These are good targets for Storako to bank 2 of the final 9 outs she needs. You don't need to stress about saving runs. Outs are more important than runs when you have a 6-run lead and are only 3 innings away. That one high and tight, 2-0. Says the pattern with Storako is the tendency to lose her command in the face of struggles on the base paths. Very much a confidence-reliant pitcher. And the 2-0 bounces in. Alexander unable to corral it, and no play as the runners scamper over to second and third. Storako really struggling right now.
Yeah, now a real chance for Wisconsin to tack on a couple more and get this game back to striking distance. 2 runners in scoring position with none out. They need to make up 6 runs to get back to even.
And that's why you would have liked that first out in the inning where Michigan definitely had a chance to make a play. And now they insert a pinch runner. It'll be Turner going to second base for Hedgecock.
They must like Turner's speed better on a potential single that would try and score 2.
Wisconsin now at second base. Number 3, Kyra Turner.
Kyra Turner goes out there and stands on second. 3-0 count. See if Welsh is just going to take all the way. 3-0 is way high, and a 4-pitch walk there. Storako needs to find the strike zone. You cannot walk a 234 hitter on 4 pitches. You got to put it over the plate.
Well, Storako came in relief in Maryland last week in a bases-loaded situation and pulled 3 strikeouts.
Yep, and that's going to be the end of Alex Storako.
And she won't get the chance.
Michigan wasting no time as Storako just did not seem to have it there.
Back to Beaubien they go. And she'll have a few minutes to warm up. She was not in the bullpen. She had remained in the dugout the whole time.
First warm-up pitch looks good.
Hopefully still warm, honestly.
You'd think so.
Feeling loose and feeling good. Again, only threw 57 pitches in her 4 innings of work. So Storako unable to record an out, 2 hits and a walk, and 1 wild pitch.
Now in the circle for the Wolverines, number 10, Megan Bobby.
Not the best couple of minutes there.
No. Again, confidence just such a huge factor. You could see her command wavered as soon as Wisconsin started to get players on base. The defense not pretty in that at-bat that began the inning. 7-1 Michigan, but nobody out, and the bases loaded for the Badgers. They have the 8-9 hitters up, and then they'll flip it to the top where Kayla Conwent waits in the hole with McClesh on deck and Little at the plate. Again, if you're Beaubien, you are content getting it out any way you can get it.
And again, that's the perks of having the wiggle room that Michigan does with their 6-run lead at the moment, 7-1.
A ground ball to second or short should go to either first or the second base. No need to throw home and protect when you're up by 6. And that first pitch dives just a tad outside. Little has 7 home runs on the year. Definitely a power threat. The goal more than anything for Wisconsin needs to be to just put it in play. You can't have a strikeout here. 1-0 is a called strike. A strikeout and a pop-out are by far the 2 worst outcomes for the Badgers in this situation. Double play would not be enjoyable either, but those are tough to turn. Has to be a perfect ball to do so. 1-1 coming and tapped off herself, and now it's a 1-2 count. Little struck out swinging her first time up.
One more strike. Check that wristband, Megan. Line it up.
1-2. We'll see if she goes to the change here or the rise ball. Those are 2 favorite strikeout pitches. 1-2, just high. Laying off of it was Little. And the count evens at 2 apiece. Beaubien peers in at Alexander, puts the ball in the glove. The 2-2 pitch, swing and a foul back. Good battle being put on so far by Little.
Wisconsin not going quietly. The wind has picked up and is blowing back in towards the field from center at the moment.
Out towards left. 2-2 on its way. Swing and a miss. And a foul tip into the glove for strike 3. That's 1 out in the inning. And it looks like we might have a pinch hitter, perhaps. Looks to be number 23, Fish.
Huge strikeout for Michigan and Megan Beaubien if they can get 1 more. But that's already 4 on the game for Beaubien. And on the season, now up to 195.
It'll be Jolie Fish. She's appeared in 37 games entering this weekend, but hadn't appeared in one since April the 24th. 95 at-bats, 23 hits for a .242 average. Got a couple more at-bats this weekend to bring it down to .237. A .342 on base is pretty solid, but not much of a demonstrable upgrade from McClesh. The numbers suggest even a downgrade, but perhaps just trying to switch something up. 1 out in the inning, bases are still juiced. And that one is swung on and fouled back. Kayla Conwent lurks on deck. She would love to come up with the bases loaded. This is an out you need to get here.
Storako bailed out Beaubien with the bases loaded in Maryland. Can Beaubien bail out Storako?
0-1 on its way. Great trap there by Katie Alexander as it was in the dirt and way outside.
Yeah. Had to get way over to the right and smother that one. Beaubien was an extra step out of the circle, ready to head for home.
1-1 count on Fish. 1 out in the inning. Ball in the glove, the wind up, and the pitch. Just a tad high and tight. 2-1.
Lawson on third is very tall for a pinch runner. Also leaves longer legs to be tagged out on a potential play at home.
Two and 1 count. Pitch is a strike right down the middle. Now Beaubien at 2-2 can do whatever she wants. She has a pitch to burn here.
Never really thought about swinging there, did Fish. Kept that bat plastered to the shoulder all the way in.
Beaubien waits for the signal. 2-2 offering, swing and a miss. She went fishing on that one.
And Beaubien's got a fistful. 5 strikeouts on the game now after re-entering and getting a pair here. One more out. And you got to think that kills any chance of Wisconsin getting some momentum back in this game.
Well, 2 outs, and this is Kayla Conwent. Huge moment in this game. Beaubien's just gotten 2 strikeouts.
The only person you really don't want to face in this situation. And Storako is Beaubien's biggest fan right now. Got her to ground back out to the circle in the first and a fly out to center on a diving catch by Peters in the fourth.
Called first strike there. Johnson is on deck. These 2 dangerous hitters atop the Badger lineup. 15 homers for Conwent. You need it to stay in the yard. The changeup dives outside, 1-1. You're content to give up a 2-run single if it means it's not a home run.
That's very true. Content to give up nothing, though.
Yeah. It's the beauty of a 6-run lead in this sort of stressful situation. The first really stressful moment all game for Michigan in the field.
Storako up on the top step of the dugout.
The 1-1 count. Conwent swings and lines that one. It's going to get off the wall. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. This will be a 2-run double for Kayla Conwent, and it's 7-3. There you go.
Yep. That's what happens when you get in that situation and you leave it up to an almost 500 hitter in the form of Conwent.
The Big Ten Player of the Year strikes, and that's her first hit of the afternoon. And what we talked about, you cannot walk Welsh. That was the big factor. A .234 hitter was walked, put on base, and that allowed Conwent to come up in the inning. If you get that out, they would have escaped the frame without Conwent ever coming to the plate.
So Beaubien still got 2 outs, but still 2 runners in scoring position. Now 7-3, still in favor of Michigan here in the top of the 5th.
Facing Taylor Johnson, who took her yarder last time up. Off-speed starts her a little high. Wisconsin got 1 in the 4th, now 2 here in the 5th, making some noise. This is a good Badger hitting team in the top 4 in most all offensive categories in the conference. Michigan's played 2 of the premier offensive teams these last 2 days.
Again, those runs will be attributed to Storako's line.
1-0 swing and a high pop-up in the infield. Canfield moving over, and she makes the play. So Megan Beaubien comes in and does enough to get out of the jam, surrenders 2 charge to Storako, and Wisconsin chips back to within 4. But Michigan still exits the frame with a comfortable 7-3 lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th.
U.S. and Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. The good music continues. Little Eagles. There used to be a Jackson Browne live album that my parents had where he co-wrote Take It Easy. And so he claims in the intro to the song that they've been locating various foreign language versions of Take It Easy for years, and they were trying to find a Chinese version And I'm still curious because the Eagles said they would learn the Chinese version if they ever found it. I would like to hear it.
It would be interesting.
It's a good summer song.
Yeah.
And we are a little cooler than we were yesterday, but still a pretty nice day so far for softball. It is starting to get a little cloudier.
And it's warm in here.
It's cooled off significantly from
Yes.
when we first arrived.
So Maddie Schwartz goes back out there to start the bottom of the 5th. In a 7-3 Michigan advantage, Wolverines will try to add some more padding to the lead. And if they get 4 runs in this inning, the game would end. So there is a chance to hit that run rule, although notably less than it was when it was 7-1. Katie Alexander to lead off. It'll be 7-8-9. Alexander, Hogenrod, and Rodriguez.
It all runs through Katie here to start it off. Looking for that walk-off grand slam drain.
Alexander 0 for 1 today, and that one is down and in. Has a walk in the 3rd as well, so 1 for 2 in getting on base in plate appearances. (1-0), Katie swings and might have gotten a piece as it went through the legs of Johnson behind the plate.
Either way, evens the count to 1-1.
It's a 9 a.m. start time. We just passed the 2-hour mark in a pretty long game. Katie swings and misses, and now it's 1-2. Pitch diving down and in.
Another foul tip there.
One and two. The pitch, swing and a miss. Maddie Schwartz showing some good stuff so far since being inserted into the game. And Haley Hogenrod will come on up.
Number 32, the right fielder, Haley Hogenrod.
Hogenrod 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a pop out to short. Alexander talking to Rodriguez as she retreats to the dugout, trying to calculate a plan to take on Maddie Schwartz. It's very fascinating that Wisconsin's most effective pitcher is constrained to a relief role. I wonder if that will change as she gets older, as she is only a freshman. She relieved Histekin, who relieved Menz, third Badger pitcher in this game, as Michigan has posted 7 runs on 11 hits. Wisconsin, 3 runs on 5 hits. 1-0 to Hogenrod, swing and a miss. That's a really good pitch that dives down and in on the feet of righty hitters. It's Saturday morning in Bloomington, Indiana on Big Ten Tournament Championships Saturday.
On the accelerated schedule.
1-1 to Hogenrod. Schwartz's pitch is off speed for a strike, and now it's 1-2. One-two, there it is again, but Hogenrod not biting this time. Wisconsin entered the weekend firmly on the bubble. Big Ten trying to put some teams in the tournament again. That one off speed, called strike 3 to Hogenrod. Now 2 outs in the inning. Last year, the Big Ten put 5 teams in, and as of right now, it would look like that if they do put 5 in, it'll be the exact same 5. Wisconsin, Northwestern, Michigan, Ohio State, and Minnesota.
A couple of good games coming up today. Up at noon is the ACC Championship on ESPN. North Carolina will face Florida State. Michigan had a pair against North Carolina down in the Hickory Woods earlier this year.
One outside, 1-0 to Rodriguez.
SEC Championship coming up tonight. Florida, who was the 6th seed after a disappointing conference season, has made noise in the tournament. They'll take on the 1 seed Alabama at 8 o'clock tonight.
Barnhill has back-to-back shutouts. Can she do it again against a very good Alabama team? And that one is going to drop in as a bloop single for Natalia Rodriguez. And she is aboard with 2 outs in the 5th. 2 for 3 today for Natalia.
Just softly lined right into center, and Michigan continues to pour hits on all around. That's their 12th hit of the game.
That brings up Faith Canfield, 3 for 3 today. 2 singles and a double. 419 batting average on the year. She has not faced Maddie Schwartz, though, so this is your first time seeing the Badger right-hander. Rodriguez at first could come all the way around on a double. Pitch high. Canfield, Peters, and Blair, a combined 6 for 8 atop the lineup, and Blair has a walk to go with it for a 7 for 9 on base percentage in the 1, 2, 3 slots in this lineup. 1-0, Rodriguez goes down. Throw there is off the glove of the covering second baseman Welsh, and Rodriguez is in on a double, or on a stolen base, gets her over to second. Single steal. Michigan with the runner in scoring position if Canfield can connect.
Now, 10 for 11, I should say, on stolen bases for Rodriguez.
Canfield swings and lines that one to center field. It's going to drop in, and Rodriguez is held at third as that was a great throw. But now the ball gets away. It bounced off the rubber. They throw down. Rodriguez dives in safe. Throw over to third. Canfield is out. But Rodriguez will count her run. It will be 8-3 Michigan headed to the 6th.
Recap time.
To recap what happened there, the ball was dropped in center field. And the center fielder, Miklesh, came charging in. Initially, Hutchins had waved Rodriguez around, then threw up the stop sign. Rodriguez put on the brakes, but the throw bounced off the rubber in the circle and went way up into the air over the head of the covering catcher, Johnson. It bounced off the backstop, and once the ball had gone over her head, Rodriguez went charging home, but it took a big bounce right back to Johnson, and she had a play, and Rodriguez stopped and was initially in the rundown. But then Johnson fumbled it, dropped out of her hand. Rodriguez dove in safe. Johnson picked it up, fired down to third as Canfield was sprinting in there, and she was tagged out. But it will be 8-3 Michigan as the Wolverines tack on another run. 8 runs on 13 hits, and an 8-3 Michigan lead to the top of the 6th.
Topsy-turvy. I want to see the scoring, the full scoring on that play. 8 to maybe 1 if Schwartz touched it, to 2, and back to 1, and then the tag.
Yeah, just a wild play.
And to 5 for the final out.
A lot of interesting defense in this game.
But it's now 8-3 after all of that.
And now Michigan gets set to take the field in the top of the 6th, with Johnson being retired as the last out in the top of the 5th. That means that if Megan Bobian can be efficient through this lineup, she does not have to see Conwent or Johnson at all the rest of the game.
Yep. And that run that scores on that crazy play also keeps the Michigan line perfect at the bottom with no zeros. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth.
Now Wisconsin just has been unable to stop the bleeding today.
They've brought a couple runs back with 1 in the fourth and 2 in the fifth, but they are now down 5 again.
First pitch fouled back. 0-1. It's Cross, Foster, and Lombardo. Bobian's 0-1 is a little high and outside. This was the offensive performance that we expected to see yesterday against Illinois, and Michigan could not do anything through 7 innings. Finally got the winning run in the 8th. Today, 8 runs through 5 so far for the Wolverines against a better pitching team in Wisconsin. 1-0 coming, and Cross hits that one deep to right field, but backing up is Hoganrod, and she'll have room for the first out of the inning. Badgers down to their final 5 outs.
Yep, got a good bit of contact there, but not enough. As we have surpassed the 2-hour mark in this game, and now at 2 hours and 9 minutes, 11:09 your time here in Bloomington. Part of Indiana that does not abide by the Central Time. I always find that weird that the whole state is not on the same time.
Yep. So 1 out in the inning. Up comes Foster. She grounds that one to short. Rodriguez going to have to hurry, and she's unable to make the play. Bobbles that one. It should go down as an error at short, and now a 1-out base runner for the Badgers.
We'll see how they score it. Foster definitely had speed down the line, and it would have been a close play, but
it goes down as an error on Rodriguez. That's the right call. Was going to
well, after they didn't register the error to subject earlier. Some curious decisions, but that one I think you are right.
Subject play was definitely a fair bit harder as she was backhanding it. Lombardo steps up, foul ball right back at us.
Couple blinks.
Lombardo has been in this game for a while, but our stat broadcast page still thinks it's Lawson. Lombardo singled last inning.
Credited the single to Lawson back in the 5th.
0-1 coming, off speed high. 3 for 4 this year is Foster on stolen bases, but we've seen the strong arm of Alexander today. I don't think there's any reason to risk it when you're down 5 runs. You need big hits, not outs.
How deeply they want to push that.
1-1 swing and a foul tip back. And now it's 1-2, Beaubien ahead in the count.
Michigan 5 outs away from their first title game in a few years here in the Big Ten Tournament.
1-2 the count on Lombardo. Beaubien sets the pitch. Swing and a miss. There's the beauty of a changeup producing
Love it.
One of the great goofy swings. The off-balance reach.
Way out in front. A little uncomfy.
That's 2 outs, and it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter number.
That's a reinsert for Hedgecock back into the game.
You're right.
Had been pinch run for by Turner.
Yep.
We'll see if they put Hedgecock back in on the stat broadcast here.
They do. Hedgecock 1 for 2 today with a foul out to first and a single. One runner on and 2 outs now on the top of the 6th. Badgers down to their final 4 outs. Need to scratch across 5 runs to tie the game before 4 outs are recorded. Hedgecock sees the first pitch high. Alexander jumps right up, still watching that runner down there at first base. There's a ball inside. 2-0. Swing and a miss by Hedgecock. Hedgecock's average up to 290 on base at 401. 7 homers on the year for her. Still ahead in the count, 2-1. Alexander goes back down, gets ready to make the signs into Beaubien. Wind up in the pitch, swinging a high fly ball to center field. Back goes Peters, but she will have room. Gets under it and makes the play. So a couple long flyouts for the Badgers in that inning, but no real harm done. And Michigan heads to the bottom of the 6th, still with an 8-3 lead intact in the Big Ten semifinal matchup. If Michigan can post 3 runs here in the bottom half of the inning, the game can end as well.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. If Michigan can hang on, 35 minutes after this game, we will have Minnesota and Northwestern, and then 35 minutes after that, the title game, where Michigan would see one of those two teams.
Northwestern are all lined up down that first base line, watching anxiously as Minnesota has traveled over to the third base side, and a lot of Gopher fans sitting there watching
Michigan
to our left.
Michigan got to watch Northwestern down in North Carolina earlier this year. They were in the same quad for the Big Ten ACC Challenge with Louisville and North Carolina. Northwestern, the winners of that weekend at 3-1. They showed their stuff early this year. They also had a sizable fan base down in North Carolina. I was quite impressed. Had some parents who periscoped the entirety of the games for those at home. Actually, they had the like a little tripod set up for the phone and everything, plugged it into power so it wouldn't die in the middle, and then stream the whole game. Not sure what kind of rules that violated, but more power to them.
Yeah.
We're all about bringing down the big network.
There'll be 2-3-4 for Michigan in this bottom of the sixth. Peters, Blair, and Subject.
You up for some pizza after Drain? Do a pizza review?
I mean, we could.
Looking at the Bloomington Brewing Company. Or we stick around here and watch Minnesota Northwestern.
Yeah, that's an option too.
Get a good look at some of those players we'll vote for on this all-tournament team ballot.
Schwartz back out there in this inning. Peters swings and slaps it foul.
Again, Schwartz still just trying to keep it close for the Badgers. Michigan 8 runs so far on 13 hits and an error. Wisconsin 3 runs on 5 hits and an error.
That pitch down and in on Peters. One. Peters swings and hits it deep in the hole to short. Got to be a quick play across the diamond, and well done there.
Really nice backhand from Foster there to pluck it out of the dirt, make the quick transfer and the throw to catch the speedy Peters at first.
One out. Here comes Lexi Blair. She had a double in the fourth, 1 for 2 today with a walk.
Lexi Blair.
First pitch, Lexi shows bunt, pulls it back as it's down in the dirt. And the bunt attempt again. Guess they say got a piece of Blair's.
Late foul call. Bounced straight up.
One count. The pitch high.
I have a listener chime in from Orlando. Shout out Florida. Be back there again in February again, Drain.
Yep. Lexi Blair's home state. 2-1 yanked foul. Ooh, right over to that dugout.
Winter Garden, Florida, the home of Lexi Blair. The freshman standout, undoubtedly going to be on this ballot for me.
Yeah. 2-2 to Blair. That one down and away, and now a 3-2 count. Blair has worked to full. Michigan playing a second consecutive very long game.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to get close to the run rule earlier, but with a couple of runs tacked back on by Wisconsin, we're going to go the distance.
3-2 fouled off by Blair.
We're at about 2 hours and 20 minutes for this game right now.
Blair continues to sport just 4 strikeouts on the season, now in 172 at-bats. Strikeout rate of 2.3%.
Well, you remember down in Tampa when we brought up the fact that Hannah Carson never struck out in 4 years of high school and then struck out in the first at-bat.
3-2 by Blair is looped to center, and it's not going to be made by McClesh, and it should fall in as, or be scored as a single as it dropped in. Valiant effort.
Twice now that Miklesh has come in to try and make the diving grab, and twice it has bounced up off the glove and resulted in a hit for the Wolverines.
So Lexi up to 2 for 3, her average to 434 on the year. Alex Subject gets ready to go, 1 for 3 today for her with 2 swinging strikeouts. Still looking for that 10th home run of the year. And she swings and grounds that one right to second. Going to be a tough play at second. Relay to first, not in time. It'll go down as a fielder's choice.
Wow.
Nice grab by Welsh.
Yeah, still a really nice play to make the down to the dirt grab and then the quick back toss up over the shoulder to the bag at second in time. I mean, I'm pretty content if I'm Wisconsin to get the one out right there. That was a tough ball to make the play on. Deep in the hole.
Uden steps up, 1 for 3 today. Uden takes it outside. She had her 7th homer of the year back in the 3rd. Now 28 RBIs on the season. A runner on here, chance to do some work. Uden swings and knifes it down the line, arcing, and it'll drop foul out of the reach of the charging left fielder Cross.
It's actually Rudnicki out there in left. Cross has been moved to right, it looks like.
Yeah, that must have just been a recent decision.
At least, no, that's incorrect. They have that on the stat broadcast, but that's out and left, definitely not Rudnicki.
I don't think so.
Oh, no, it is.
Maybe it is. The
yeah, no, it is.
Broadcast
it
has
is.
been all over the place today.
Nope, correct. That is Rudnicki in left, Cross in right. Still Miklesh in center.
1-1 on Uden is inside, 2-1. Michigan wearing the white tops with the blue pants today after wearing the maize jerseys yesterday. Wisconsin in the all red. And the white visors for the fielders. Schwartz wears the cage on the face. 2-1, Uden gets out in front of it, but a weird hop past the first baseman, Lombardo. And now stopping at second, now going to third is Subject.
That's got to be some of the weirdest spin that I've seen come off a ball this season. It was just kind of knuckled over to first and then was tailing to the right, but the backspin pulled it back to the left past the extended glove of Lombardo and into left or into right.
That'll go down as the 15th hit for Michigan as Uden is 2 for 4 on the day. That's a really hard play for a fielder with that kind of balance.
Mackenzie Nemitz, a home run here would end it.
Yep. Runners on the corners and 2 outs for Nemitz, who is 1 for 3 today with a pair of ground outs and a double.
Has 5 home runs on the season.
First pitch is down and in.
If you don't have the benefit of seeing that ball at home, that just had some wicked backspin.
A huge kick.
In the exact opposite direction of where it had been tailing.
The 1-0 and yanked down the line, just foul. Nemitz got out in front of it and pulled it just past the chalk.
Smelled like trouble.
Nemitz 5 homers on the year and 101 at-bats, .505 slugging percentage. Trying to get over 300 in the batting average. One on its way. Nemitz lines that one softly to short, and Foster hauls it in for the first time today. Michigan is held off the board, and we head to the 7th inning. Michigan 8, Wisconsin 3. Last call for the Badgers.
Michigan 3 outs from a title chance.
And Megan Beaubien goes sprinting out of the dugout. She's at 83 pitches today. It'll be something to monitor in the second game.
You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball on the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Jeremy Parks, Alex Drain. 8-3 Michigan over the Badgers so far, with 3 outs between Michigan and the championship game.
From Andy Mohr Field in Bloomington, Indiana, the hosts, the Hoosiers, have been eliminated. Beaubien's career high in pitches in one day is 176. That happened in the doubleheader against Ohio State. If she can get through this quickly, she could have around 80 or 90 pitches comfortably to go in that championship game.
Yep, limited work yesterday. Wasn't expecting this heavy of a load today, but came in to relieve Staraka, who got into a bases-loaded, none-out jam. Surrendered 2 runs to Kayla Conwent after Beaubien got 2 strikeouts and was just 1 out away, but surrendering the 2 runs there in the top of the 5th, and that was the last time Wisconsin crossed the plate.
One big difference is that in the Ohio State doubleheader, she had logged 104 pitches the preceding night. This time around only logged about 60 pitches the preceding affair, so could have quite a bit more in the tank compared to that Ohio State second outing where she appeared to wear down at the end, as Ohio State rallied to force the lone Michigan loss of the year to a Big Ten opponent.
Dead bottom of the order due up.
Yeah, if Beaubien can get through this easily, then she won't have to see Conwent again, as it's 7-8-9. Welsh first up, fouls one off her foot backwards, and it's 0-1.
A combined 0 for 4 between Welsh, Little, and Miklesh so far today.
But a big walk to Welsh, which was what allowed Conwent to come back up in the 5th and drum home a couple runs. All 3 runs batted in off the bats of Conwent and Johnson today. Pitch just a bit outside, 1-1. Michigan leads Wisconsin 8-3. The 6th inning, the first time that neither team scored a run. Wisconsin got 1 in the 4th and 2 in the 5th. Beaubien sets. The 1-1 on its way. Swinging a foul back, and now it's 1-2. Michigan got 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, and none in the 6th. Minnesota player, our staff member, getting up from seats right in front of us, anxiously waiting for their semifinal matchup with Northwestern. That'll be a marquee clash. 1-2 on its way. It's the changeup, and it bounces in.
And those 2 teams saw each other not too long ago, Drain.
Yeah, just last weekend.
Had the big end of the regular season series. Minnesota helping Michigan out with a couple of big wins against Northwestern to keep the Wildcats from taking the regular season title, or at least tying for a share with Michigan.
2-2 is fouled back by Welsh. Minnesota enters that semifinal as the favorite, having taken 2 of 3 from Northwestern last weekend and certainly looked the more impressive side in those 3 games. 2-2 swing and a miss. Welsh goes chasing it outside. Beaubien gets another strikeout, and it's 1 out.
She's got 1 for you for each day of the week. 7 strikeouts for Megan Beaubien on the game.
And now Jordan Little comes up. She swings and lines that one to left. Blair coming in. She will not have room, and so Wisconsin gets a base runner on with 1 out in the 7th. It'll bring McClesh up to the plate.
Which does now re-enter the possibility of having to face Kayla Conwent after McClesh. Although a double play ball could end it.
That one is a high chopper down the third base side. Strikeout swinging for McClesh, the slap hitter. Pinch hit for later on. Oh, and 1 the count on her. Michigan 2 outs away from heading to the championship game. 0-1. Called strike on the outside edge. Beautiful pitch.
Run that back door.
Rubs the ball off on the left pant leg. 0-2 on its way. Dives outside.
Standing in very tall there is McClesh.
1-2 on its way. Swing and a foul back. Uden pulled in at the line.
Very late to get a piece of that one there.
Yeah, lucky to get a bit on it. Do the 1-2 again. The pitch, off speed, got her. Change up, and she is rung up after being frozen. And Mike Burwell.
That's a TV time ring up for
yeah,
Mike Burwell.
that was a good looking strikeout call.
That was like watching Teddy Valentine call a foul late in the game.
And with it means 2 outs. Badgers down to their final out. But Kayla Conwent gets ready to step in, and Jen Brundage goes out to talk to Bobby and how they want to attack Conwent.
Well, at the very least, you can take comfort in the fact that if Conwent puts it over the fence, it's still a 3-run game. Not that you want to surrender a home run here. 1 for 3 on the game for Conwent. Had the ground out to the circle, a line out that was made on a diving grab by Peters in center, and then the 2 RBI double in the last at bat in the 5th.
The Big Ten Player of the Year, junior Kayla Conwent. 474 average.
You know, when I used to umpire Little League games, I practiced my ring up.
Yeah.
And Mike Burwell's ring up right there, it's a top quality.
It's a model.
Start the lawnmower.
We'll see how Bobian starts off Conwent. First pitch, and Kayla's swinging right away and yanks it foul down the third base side. 0-1.
Hugging that close to the bag chalk line is Madison Uden over at third.
Conwent connected on a 2-run, 2-out double in the 5th. The only really stressful moment of this game for Michigan. 0-1 on its way. Conwent lines it right back up the middle. And then booted in center by Peters. She's going to throw to third. Should have gone to second. Now they throw over to Conwent there. She slides in with a double. They would have had Conwent at second.
Yeah, it just spells a little bit of trouble here and there. Conwent, again, refusing to give up and continuing to work that 474 average.
She has hit everything as a missile today.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do about it.
Johnson due up, who has gone yard earlier in this game off of Megan Bobian.
It's a 7th hit for the Badgers. 3 runs on 7 hits. Michigan's 8 runs on 15 hits. 2 outs in this inning. Michigan still 1 out away from a title game appearance. And that one is lined right back to the mound. Bobian's going to flip it over to first. Got her. And that'll do it. A liner right back to the mound off Bobian's glove sheet. didn't hurry, just walked over to it, and then the underhand flip gets Johnson by a step, and Michigan ends this one with Wisconsin in a final score 8-3 Wolverines.
Wolverines headed to the championship game. Wisconsin still likely a tournament team, in my opinion, Drain. I think probably for you as well. So no need to hang the head too low. The season's not over for the Badgers yet, but a big win for Michigan, a much more comfortable win than yesterday against Illinois with the final 8-3 here, and they will be back after the next game, and they will see the winner for a chance at the hardware.
They collect their second RPI top 50 win of the weekend to the Wolverines. And final line, 8-3 Michigan. Bobian advances to 27-4. 8 runs on 15 hits and 2 errors committed by Michigan. Wisconsin, 3 runs on 7 hits, 1 error committed. Michigan leaves 7 on. Wisconsin leaves 5 on. Canfield, star of the game for Michigan, 4 for 4. Blair, 2 for 3. Uden, 2 for 4. The lone home run for Michigan off Uden's bat. For Wisconsin, their lone home run off Johnson's bat. Any last thoughts?
No, we'll be back after the short between-game break, and we'll have the coverage for you for the title game here from Andy Mohr in Bloomington shortly. We'll keep you updated on Twitter with the start and end time to this Minnesota Northwestern game, and it'll be 35 minutes after the conclusion for the start of the championship.
Yep, so that just about does it for us. Final score once again, Michigan 8, Wisconsin 3 in the semifinal match. Michigan will be back in a little while against either Minnesota or Northwestern. With that, we say good night and go blue from Bloomington.